All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Carlo Bobilas, and I'll be your moderator. I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker, Customer Success Specialist, Spring Melbourne. But before I hand over the mic, I have a few housekeeping items to cover about today's presentation. Today's webinar will be recorded and made available after the live session. Details to follow at the end. During the session, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have a question for our speaker, please feel free to send it through the question and answer panel, where our wonderful panelists are ready to respond. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and hand it over to Spring. Spring, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Carlo. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Now that should be available now. All right. Okay, thanks everyone for coming, and welcome to the SecureX and Secure Network Analytics Integration webinar. So just to cover the agenda for today's session, I'm going to go over a brief introduction to SecureX, cover some of the benefits there. I'm going to walk you through the steps for integrating SNA with SecureX. We're going to look at dashboard and the things of using SecureX with SNA. Talk about some of the tools you have with SecureX and an SNA investigation, and also touch on SecureX Orchestration. And throughout this, I will do some switching between my PowerPoint, and I will move into the system a couple times. So you'll get to see the live system as well as some screenshots out of the system along the way. First up, we'll have a poll, just to get a gauge of what everyone's current comfort level is with SecureX. Are you very, somewhat, not at all? Maybe you're using it for secure network analytics. Maybe you're using it for some of your other secure products.
So just to kind of give you some updates on the poll, Spring, majority have selected not at all, while following at about 33% with about somewhat, and yeah.
All right, that sounds good. I think we're on point with what I'm hoping to cover today. So first we'll start, I'll give you a little introduction of SecureX. SecureX is a cloud-native platform. It's built with a goal to unify visibility of information while allowing your security, network, and IT operation teams to collaborate more effectively and efficiently. SecureX is embedded into the secure Cisco product and not just another layer of security. This product has third-party integrations, intelligence, identity, and SIM-SOAR capabilities built within the platform. And you should be happy to know that as a Cisco secure product customer, like StealthWatch or Secure Network Analytics, you're already entitled to this product. Those other Cisco secure products already deployed in your environment become the information channels that SecureX leverages for the update. It has a simple integration that allows you to start small and grow as your needs dictate, while gaining detection analytics, investigation remediation, managed policy, orchestration, and automation right from the beginning. SecureX unlocks tremendous value for your organization. It's been built with 3 key value pillars in mind: integrated and open for simplicity, unified in one location for visibility, and maximized for operational efficiency. On the left here, you can see with integrations, the system comes with built-in, pre-built, or custom integrations for a quick start. The dashboard you're going to find is highly customizable providing visibility across the Cisco Secure portfolio. Moving into the middle with the ribbon, that offers a unified user experience, providing a simple way of maintaining your context between the individual consoles, each product. Threat Response. That's an API aggregation used to bring together global intelligence, global context, and response actions. And over on the right, we have Orchestration. That's allowing you to automate those repetitive tasks and create custom workflows to solve problems which are unique to your business, and allowing your teams to focus on other valuable items. So first up, I'm going to step you through how we go about integrating SNA with SecureX. To highlight some of the benefits once that integration is established, you're going to have a dashboard within SecureX to monitor those key operational metrics, and you're going to be able to see those alongside your other Cisco Secure products. You'll have a SecureX menu, which allows you to pivot between your security and third-party integrations. The SecureX ribbon, that persists across the product once the integration is done. You'll be able to send your SNA alarm data up to the threat response store. And you're also going to be allowing SecureX to request security event information to enrich that context for your workflows when you're doing your investigation. As with anything, there's some prerequisites. So we need to start with an SNA manager that's at version 7.2.1 or later. We always like to see on higher, most current releases and patch levels, but it does start working with version 7.2.1. Your manager will need to be registered in the Cisco Cloud, the Security Services Exchange, and I am going to show you how to do that. The manager also needs to be able to connect outbound to the Cisco Cloud, depending on your region. And I highlighted them here. Those will come out in the PowerPoint, so you can go into those more. A couple other things, admin credentials. If you're the one doing the setup, you're going to need your SecureX account with admin credentials, as well as your SNA manager. And to make sure you can see your connections right away, if your SNA deployment is already generating those security events and alarms as expected, you'll know that the data is feeding over well. If you're an Orbital user, that's another opportunity to allow access to the cloud. So first up, we're just going to step through these in slide mode for some of these connections, and then we're going to go actually look at a live system in a little while. So we're going to start here with SNA on your main dashboard, and we need to go in and do a new device registration. So to get there, we're going to click on this gear icon. We're going to go down to the SecureX configuration, and the window that comes up, you're going to see two options. You're going to have your Cisco SecureX integration configuration with SecureX configuration and device registration. So we're going to start first with the new device registration. And once you open that up, again, as I noted, the cloud region, you'll want to set that to your area. And the main thing here is we need to get a device token. And within the product, we have a quick link access that will take you right into the Security Services Exchange. So if you click there, it will take you to log in. You already have your single sign-on set up. That should be quick and easy. And once this page is open, we're going to click over here on the plus sign. So that brings up to the Add Devices and Generate Tokens. You can click Continue. Once it comes up with your token, you can copy that information straight to your clipboard. And what we're going to do there is now we're going to toggle back to Network Analytics. We'll paste in that device token we just copied to the clipboard and click Save. And once that process is complete, you should have your device showing down here on the page with a status of green and enrolled. Once that part is complete, we'll stay on that same page, and we're going to move up to the SecureX configuration. And we need to start here with adding a new configuration. When this window is open, you'll select your domain. Again, we have the region, so I'm in North America. And the key things here is we need to go generate an API client ID and a client password. And once again, we have a quick link. So if you don't already have the other system open, we're going to go into SecureX, but we have a quick link there that you can click on and navigate over to generate those. I have that on the next slide here. And once you're on that main page, you're going to move over to the administration on that. And then you're going to see API clients. We'll click there. We're going to be able to generate an API client. Once this window opens, it's required to give it a name. I chose SNA integration. Pick something that makes sense to you. Scope. Here we want to go ahead and select all so that we have access to all the privileges we need. You can add a further description if you like, that is optional. And then we're going to add a new client. Once you click on that, you're going to get another screen that has the ID and passwords you need to copy and paste. Once you have those available, we're going to toggle back over, once again, to the network analytics side. And we're going to paste that client ID and the password here. Once those are in, we can click Save. And you can see under the SecureX configuration, your API status should now be green and connected. One other thing you should notice here is once I did that, I got the security ribbon authentication that came up. And in my case, the first time through, it came up as unauthorized, and I want to call that out in case that happens to you as well. You can click on the ellipsis here next to it and click on Authorize, and it should refresh from there and go green. From here, Carla will move into our second poll. How many Cisco Secure products are implemented currently at your company? 1, 2 or more, 3 or more? Products like Answer Endpoints or Secure Endpoint. We have Secure Network Analytics, maybe Secure Cloud Analytics. There's just a few.
All right, Spring. So looking at the results, the majority, with about 75%, have 3 or more, followed by a close, no, I wouldn't say close, but 21 to 23% with just a single implementation, and with at the bottom with just 3%, about 2.
Okay. Well, I mean, with SecureX, you gain value whether you're using just one product or multiple. Obviously, you can gain more context with additional secure products, but you also gain a lot with just one and connecting in SNA as well. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what happens since we've integrated SNA with SecureX. I'm going to toggle over here and I'm going to share my system, and we're going to take a look at the SecureX screen. Okay. I already have my tab open, so I'm just going to click on that. The first thing I want to toggle over to, if this is the first time we've gone through and connected SecureX and SNA, we need to go to the integration modules. And something I just want to highlight while we're here there are a lot of opportunities to integrate things with SecureX. There's plenty of Cisco products, email, web, threat defense, just to name a few, secure firewall. But I also want to take a moment just to highlight there's a lot of third-party integrations you may be using in your organization or might take advantage of using to provide some additional context for your threat investigation. So I'm just going to kind of scroll down here just a little bit so you guys can get an idea here of just how many are already built into the system. I won't keep going there, but I will go back up to the top. So mind your eyes for just 1 second. All right. So what I want to show here, if you're looking for a particular one, you can search here. And if you want to see what's already connected, you can click on My Integration Modules. And for this webinar, I've already integrated my Secure Network Analytics. You can see that it does show integrated. If it was not, now that we've gone through connections within SNA and creating that token and the APIs, everything's registered, we should have an Add button over here on the left-hand side of that tile. Once you clicked on that, it pops up, just asks you to select the device that you've registered, and then those tiles become available within SecureX. So now I'm going to toggle back to the dashboard. If there's anything pre-built already in there, you're going to see those. But if it's the first time, we're going to come in here, we're going to customize. We're going to click Create a Dashboard. And for this, I'm just going to call it SNA Webinar. You can see the different products that are integrated within my environment, but I'm going to focus here on Secure Network Analytics. And I'm going to add all 7 tiles that are available and click Save. So now you can see the new dashboard that's been added. A couple things you can do here, just for you can navigate, you can move the tiles around to see what order you want them in. You can resize them. Down here, they can be resized. If you're working with something in particular and you want to zoom it in, you can make it full screen and move it back out. Another thing I want to show while we're here at this particular time is the SecureX ribbon. From here, you'll be able to access casebook, the incidents, if we're sending up incidents to SecureX. If you're an Orbital user, your notifications, got some extra help in here, and some settings if you want to, tweak how your display goes. In the center, you can see the applications, so you can quick pivot to your different applications that you've integrated. I'm going to toggle back to here. Okay, and I just wanted to just give a little bit of information about those tiles in SecureX. There's 7 different ones available. So the first one, and these are very similar to your network security dashboard that you should be familiar with working with SNA on a regular basis. We have alarming hosts by category, and that's over a period of 24 hours. And I'm going to point out to you, some of the time periods are adjustable and some are not within SecureX. The next one is the top outside host groups by traffic, showing that top 10. And that time period as well is fixed at the last 12 hours. If you were to click on any of those, and you would pivot into SNA and a host group report. On the right here, we have network visibility, provides statistics for the number of hosts and the amount of traffic. This one you can adjust between last 24 hours and the last 7 days. And if you were to pivot out of that, it would take you to the visibility assessment dashboard. Next, we have the top inside host groups by traffic. That's your top 10. And that time period is just for the last 12 hours. This one pivots you back to your host group report. On the visibility assessment, number of hosts are shown here. Got categories including internal network scanners, protocol servers, DNS risks, some of those. And as well, it is flexible, last 24 hours or last 7 days. This one will also take you to the visibility assessment dashboard. The last two, we have top alarms by count, the top 10 alarms. It toggles 24 hours or the last 7 days. This will take you into the main network security dashboard if you pivot over into SNA. And the last of the 7 is the top alarming host. That provides the top 7 inside hosts sorted by alarm severity. And that just shows for the last 24 hours and gives you pivoting over into the host report. And just to include here in the slide deck, that SecureX ribbon, you don't lose context with it as you move between your secure products. You can, again, as I showed, options for the tools, the casebook and the incidents are here, your applications, and as well as some quick buttons if you don't have it expanded to get into casebook, your incidents, and things that can search. Now let's start to talk about investigations with SecureX and SNA. One of the key features by connecting with SecureX is the benefit that Threat Response provides. It aggregates intelligence from both Cisco security product data sources and third-party data sources through APIs, and it uses to identify whether observables such as file hashes, IP addresses, domains, and email addresses are suspicious. Right? Generally, as a customer, you might be starting with a threat intelligence source like a cyber advisory or intelligent blog and start with the questions like, did this affect us? How? And those sources probably provide the observables to start that investigation, but each of those observables needed to be investigated against your threat intel sources and your security products individually and manually, which could take some time to do. But the nice thing about Threat Response, you can take those observables, paste them into the Investigate user interface within Threat Response, and it does the work for you. It adds context from your integrated security products automatically. So you can quickly identify which of your systems was targeted and how. It's bringing all of that knowledge back from the intel sources and security products, displaying those results in seconds, which gives your teams the opportunity to take action immediately or continue further with their investigation. So you can see from left to right, we talk about the intelligence, where did it come from, how are we bringing that stuff in with Threat Response, local context, what are our secure products that we're using, have they been seen, and the opportunity, what can I do about it? Do I need to block something, isolate something? So that's the benefit and the nice part of these tools. The SecureX menu, now that you're integrated, what you're going to see within SNA is if you click on an IP address, you see that ellipsis off to the right of it. When you come up to your little menu, you're going to see SecureX, and you're going to be able to expand that. And you're going to see the different pieces that you've integrated, whether it's additional secure products, bringing it into investigation into Threat Response, pivoting to your other systems, or if you get into orchestration, you might have some actions you can take right from this menu. We touched on this a little bit, but once the integration is configured, you can allow SNA alarms to be sent up to SecureX. And they'll become incidents with the corresponding sightings, observables, and indicators created from that alarm's metadata. And when you're working in SecureX, the incident manager there, you'll be able to search for them and find those and use those directly for your investigations from that web console. You do need to set up an additional piece for SNA to send those alarms to SecureX, and it's handled through response management. So you'll need to go in to configure response management and start to add a new action called Threat Response Incident. And within there, you have the ability to determine the confidence level that you want those alarms to go up to SecureX with. You can determine the target when sending the details to SecureX, whether it's internal hosts or internal and external hosts. And as well, you can use the host details from the alarm data. This allows you to specify whether the target object should be built for source and target host, just the source host, or just the target host. And a nice piece of that is there's a test action button down here. So you can play with the settings to see which one is going to work best for your environment. And for reference here on the right, it's showing you what an incident might look like. So there's the test alarm. And in this case, we have the confidence set to low. So you can see that there. Once you have those incidents going in to SecureX, you can use the incident panel to search for those. You can see which product they're coming from. You can see that they're coming from your SelfWatch or Secure Network Analytics. When you select one, you have a couple different tabs you can look at. Summary, providing you the incident title, confidence, severity, time, and the device ID. Events, that's the original event information. Here's your observables and options to investigate these straight from here. The timeline is of the incident, so it'll tell you when the incident was created, change the status, those types of things. And then the linked references that come in. And it starts out with the main event that started it, but if you add cases and those types of things, you'll see those attached there as well. Once you're bringing those in, you can start using SecureX as the central point to start investigation, or the ribbon from wherever you are in another secure product like SNA. When you do that, you've selected your incident, same place we kind of were before, but this time you might want to go up and view it in the incident manager. And so that's bringing it all into a larger screen, showing the same type of information and a little bit more than just on the ribbon. What you can do from there is you can investigate your incident, select the observables that you want to investigate, and once you click on Investigate and Selected, it's going to take you up to the threat response, where you can review the results and dig in further. I'm going to toggle back over and show you some of that in the my live system here. What I first want to show you is the SecureX menu that we talked about. You can see that here, and it might sometimes take a second to come up depending on what you have. So it's something we can investigate in threat response. But you can see the different products that are integrated with this environment. And as I mentioned, SecureX orchestrations that are set up. Isolate a host, generate casebook. So there's lots of different options you can bring in without even leaving your SNA dashboard or the system there. Then we have the ribbon down here as well, where I could move over to SecureX, or I could launch the incidents straight from here. And without a filter in here, you can see things from different products coming in. Those are things that I want to do is I'm just going to filter down so that I know I have something coming from Secure Network Analytics. And again, you can see here the tabs we talked about on the slides. You can see the FTP to outside. Scroll down on this a little bit. You can see time, serve, the severity, first seen, last seen information, and definitely know the source again. What I'm going to do from here, you can do one of two things. We can manage the incident, right? And that just kind of brings a lot of that information up into a bigger screen. Same kind of tabs, a little more visual aspect to the data. So here I could have gone straight to investigate the incident and selected the observables. Or because I'm in threat response, I did that, I can do the same here. Let's go here. I'm going to do this one. We're going to select all. Click on investigate selected. It can take a little bit of time sometimes for that to run through. And once it comes back, you can see which address that it investigated, if it omitted any of the addresses. In this case, I did pick something that didn't have anything extra related to it. Indicators, right? This is the incident we started with, FTP to outside. It also brought back indicators from Talos. And as well, you can see what contributed to the investigation. So we had global threat intelligence, secure network analytics, and Talos intelligence. From there, you can look at what the judgments are, any verdicts that have come in, sightings, right? I'm going to scroll down here on the sightings. You can see where it was seen, how many times it was seen, and where it was seen. You're looking at the number of times this has come into your environment. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and toggle back to SecureX. Going back to SecureX, the incidents here, I also want you to see the link option. So here, you can link a case. So you can see you have already started a case. You can link a case straight to that incident. From there. And as well, if you click on the SecureX, you'll go back to home. On the casebook, you can bring those up and look back the other way as well. This is the beginning of how you would start using your investigations now that you have integrated the SecureX and you have the ability to take advantage of threat response. I'll go back here. From there, once you're able to be comfortable investigating with using SecureX and threat response, you might choose to expand out and add automation and using orchestration. And this will allow you to automate repetitive tasks and create custom workflows. With that, you'll be able to investigate your security events with machine-like speed, with pre-built and custom playbooks. We've been highlighting the integrations Cisco has and third-party systems to expand that security toolbox. Those automated responses will help reduce your mean time to respond and eliminate those repetitive tasks, allowing your team to focus on your mission-critical projects. In scaling, this automation can continue to scale. It doesn't take a day off. It's just going to deliver the same SLA around the clock each time something comes in. As well, building those SecureX workflows, an option to get started is looking at our Cisco GitHub security channel. There's several out there already, pre-built that you can pull in. You'll have to do some configuration specifically for your environment, but some options out there already are to block external threats with Umbrella, generating a casebook with your top hosts and peers, isolating endpoints and block hashes from alarms. And there's a couple others about cleaning up for incident manager cleanup, and also an alert for repeat incident alerting that's happening in SecureX for those incidents coming up. And one thing to note, if your SNA deployment is on-prem and not accessible from the internet, you can still use SecureX, but you have to set up a SecureX orchestration remote to use it. And there's some instructions out there as well on how to do so. All right, this brings us into our third poll. After the information provisioned so far, do you feel you have information available to integrate SNA with SecureX? Let's get you started.
All right, the numbers are coming in. I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, we have a let's see, a close split between very and somewhat. They hover around 40 to 44%.
Oh, great.
Yeah, with a 15 or less than 15% selected as not at all.
All right. Well, hopefully between the information and we'll cover at the end, sharing out the slide deck and those types of things, and lots of other resources that are available to you forward. To wrap it up and highlight some key points to remember as we go from this webinar, SecureX is there to unlock value for your organization. It's there to provide simplicity, visibility, and efficiency. It's bringing all that data together. The dashboards are there. Obviously, this webinar is specifically focused on SNA operational metrics, but the big thing there is you can bring your other secure products in, and as well, third-party products if you have other systems that your organization is already using. Bringing those alarms up into SecureX, pulling those sightings, observables, and indicators. That way, again, we're bringing all that data together to be used for those investigations. And then finally, the orchestration. Building those automations, the drag and drop interface. We talked about some others that you might be able to download and just get configured. It's a lot of information covered in a short period of time, but hopefully we've touched on some things, highlighted some benefits for you. And wanted to kind of, as I mentioned, there's a lot of different information sources that you can go through to really start digging into this some more. There's an introduction to secure analytics and SecureX, how to create workflows in SecureX. There's a whole SecureX Academy. You may already be familiar with the Stealth Watch or Secure Network Analytics Academy. There's also one for SecureX. Tons of information we have available as resources for everyone. And I'll even throw in there as well, on YouTube, there is a whole channel as well with some great videos on how to integrate pieces. There's one that I watched that was just about integrating multiple third-party systems together, bringing that context in. Carlos, I'm going to turn it back over to you here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Spring. Awesome presentation. At this time, we'll go ahead and use a remainder to take questions from the audience. So if you do have a question, please use the Q&A panel to submit your questions. Okay, first question, and again, these questions, any of the panelists, if they'd like to unmute their microphones, feel free to do so. Okay, first question I have here is, in what part of SecureX can you perform threat investigations?
So the main area to do that would be within the SecureX Threat Response. That's where it's bringing in that contextual data from all the different sources.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Great question. Next question I have here is the SecureX dashboard SNA tile customizable?
So you are limited to the predefined tiles, but you can customize which ones you want to see in a dashboard, as well as you can share that dashboard out with your organization.
Great, thank you. Next question is, what are the requirements to successfully integrate SNA with SecureX?
Great question. Minimal version for SNA for your manager is 7.2.1. Again, I'll take my plug here and say we always like you to be on higher versions. 7.4.1 is awesome. You're going to need admin credentials for SMC and SecureX. That's probably the basics there. You will need to get in and register with the Security Services Exchange to get your devices configured there as well.
Thank you. All right. Question came up a couple of times in regards to how to integrate SNA on-prem with SecureX in the cloud. Since it is on-prem and SecureX is on the cloud, would any of the panelists be able to clarify that?
So basically, SNA is integrating with SecureX by sending information into SecureX through the SSE. So what you need is communication from inside to outside. You don't have to have SNA in the cloud. And it's actually sending findings, not sending net flow or telemetry or logs to the cloud. It's only sending from the SMC, the alarms and events that are detected by SNA or maybe SCA. It's the same concept.
Thank you very much, Hannah. All right, and with that, there is a question that did come up about integrating Umbrella with SecureX. Is that something doable?
SecureX and Umbrella integration.
Thank you. All right, so there's a lot of links that's currently being displayed. A little too much to be added to the chat, but what we'll do is we'll put the actual slide with those links in the post-webinar discussion thread. Let me go ahead and paste a copy to where that actual thread on the Cisco Learning Network will be. I do encourage you to jump and bookmark that page because I believe we'll also be streaming. We've actually streamed this session on YouTube, and that stream will be available, I believe, immediately compared to the recording, which typically takes 3 to 5 business days. So let me go ahead and add that back to the chat. All right. Another question did come up. They mentioned, Spring, that you talked about orchestration when trying to integrate on-prem SNA to SecureX. Is that something that you'd be able to talk about a bit more?
I might turn that over to someone on the panel for orchestration.
Yeah, for SecureX orchestration specifically to integrate with on-prem SNA, there is multiple options. One of them is not recommended, which is giving access from outside to the SMC. The other one, which is the recommended one, is there's something called in SecureX orchestration, something called remote. It's a small virtual machine you download from SecureX and you could install it on-prem. It's basically an ONA file. You have to provide it a small setup. This will connect back to SecureX and will be used to connect from the SMC into that connector back to cloud in order not to open a hole in a firewall and create more security risk. So that's the method using a proxy, which is going to be the remote connector.
Thank you very much for that. And let's see here. Another one of our audience members asked if there are any other Cisco products that you guys would recommend besides SNA to SecureX to have more visibility and extend threat hunting. One of them they were pointing out, I guess at least Secure Endpoint would be a product, another Cisco product, but does anybody have any other recommendations?
All of them. Not to be
That's a
too
great
far.
recommendation.
All of them. We want you to integrate all of them at some point. But yes, Secure Endpoint definitely. Umbrella came up. As I scrolled down those tiles again, if you have SecureX, I don't know, would it be okay to toggle back over, Carlo?
Sure, I believe you still have the presenter ball, so feel free to, yeah.
Okay. So, just to show you, close down the ribbon here. I mean, consider what you have in your environment, in your organization, and slowly add them in. Maybe you start with SNA and get kind of used to those things moving up, and then start bringing in the other ones, or whichever one you want to start with. That's kind of the nice thing about it is you can just build on it as you learn to use it and dig in more and build those automations and go with it.
Thank you. All right, let's see here. Love the questions. There's one that from an audience asking if integrating SecureX, would that be able, I guess, after integration, would they be able to detect DDoS attacks in real time?
So we have a number of security events that are DDoS related inside of Secure Network Analytics. So what you would be doing something with SecureX would be using SNA, Secure Network Analytics, as your NDR platform, and then escalating up to SecureX, where you could build some workflows surrounding DDoS. So you could go through and say build mitigations against those attacks upstream in SecureX.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Robert. Another one asks, through SecureX, can we do hardware ports or hardware port block and endpoint solution too? Question mark.
So for that, you would be doing something. Are you? I guess the question is, like, administratively disabling a port on a switch, or quarantining a host, maybe. Those are all possible outcomes with SecureX and SNA integrations. Depending on what exact outcome you're looking for, may require another integration. But yes, as part of the responses, we can go through and do things like removing a host from the network in a variety of different ways.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Robert. Okay. I don't see any other questions. I think the whole team answered everything. Oh, yeah, no, it's all set. All right. Well, Spring, I think it's a good time to go ahead and start to wrap up. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience before we close out?
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate the panelists. Thanks for joining today. And once we get this published, the PDF published out there, you'll have access to the content and all the links to get you started.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's see here. I do see questions. Questions, please continue to ask questions. I'll keep the Q&A window open for a couple more minutes. But I do want to thank Spring again, our panelists, and the whole team for bringing their knowledge to the Cisco community. Once again, I placed a link to where the recording will be posted, along with the post-webinar discussion thread, which will house a copy of today's presentation as a downloadable PDF. So definitely do bookmark that post-webinar discussion thread. We'll have that information loaded shortly. For even more tutorials, demonstrations, and future webinars, please do visit the Cisco Learning Network. Your feedback is important. At this time, you'll be directed to a survey, so we do encourage you to take time to participate. Once again, we thank everyone for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Hello, and thank you for joining this live webinar presented by the Cisco Learning Network. This webinar will be recorded and made available on the Cisco Learning Network, and information on how to access the recording will be emailed to you following the live session. Please allow up to 5 business days for the full recording to be made available. Thank you very much and enjoy the presentation. Hello, and thank you for joining this live webinar presented by the Cisco Learning Network. This webinar will be recorded and made available on the